A slow metabolism causes you to gain body fat and therefore gain weight. That's actually a myth, as Dr. Thomas William explains on the Health Channel. Brown fat draws energy directly from your harmful fat. So here's good fat, brown fat, actively fighting bad fat. And the great news is that certain foods can activate that brown fat energy burning system. There was a metabolism study in which participants were given 2 pears to eat before lunch every day over 4 weeks. Just 2 pears. And it actually reduced their waistline. Intermittent fasting, which is your metabolic fat burning period, occurs while you're sleeping. You might think that because you're not exercising, you can't be burning fat. That's incorrect. You are actually burning fat while you sleep. There is something very simple that people can do to help burn down extra body fat, and it's known as intermittent fasting. As Dr. Thomas Williams shares on the Health Channel, he used to walk around assuming certain things about metabolism were simply true. For example, he had always believed that some people are born with a fast metabolism. They're thin, they seem to eat anything without gaining weight. And then some people have a slower metabolism. You've heard it before. Oh, my sister was lucky. She has a fast metabolism. Unfortunately, I was born with a slow one. I've struggled with food my whole life and always had difficulty managing my weight. That's a very common belief, and it was one of the myths Dr. Thomas Williams carried for years. The second assumption was about teenagers. When you see a 15 or 16-year-old eating 2 or 3 dinners, full of energy, playing sports, running around constantly, you'd naturally say, that kid's metabolism must be through the roof. That's what most of us assume. The third thing Dr. Thomas Williams always assumed, and as he points out on Health Channel, most people do, is that once you reach adulthood, around your 20s, 30s, and 40s, there's a real turning point where things start working against you metabolically. The common belief is that as you approach and enter middle age, your metabolism slows down on its own. That's why people say, I've hit 40, I've hit 50, my metabolism is against me now. There's nothing I can do. I just need to accept my body. And that mindset leads people to give up entirely. It won't make a difference anyway, so I'll just eat whatever I want. The fourth assumption Dr. Thomas Williams held was that a slow metabolism directly causes fat gain and weight gain, and that this is simply how things work. All 4 of these beliefs were completely overturned. Every single one of them is false. Based on a groundbreaking research study published about 2 years ago, as Dr. Thomas Williams explains on the Health Channel, that groundbreaking study involved a team of 90 researchers collaborating across 20 countries. Together, they studied 6,000 people from 20 different nations, representing different geographies, dietary patterns, and cultures. What made this study truly remarkable was its age range. Participants spanned from 1 week old all the way to 90 years old, covering virtually the entire human lifespan. Every single participant was studied using the exact same method. They were given a drink of specially prepared water in which both the hydrogen and oxygen molecules had been modified in a lab so they could be tracked and measured. By analyzing what participants exhaled, what appeared in blood draws, or what was present in urine samples, researchers could accurately calculate each person's metabolic rate. This had simply never been done before at this scale. When initial results came in, as Dr. Thomas Williams describes on the Health Channel, metabolism readings were spread across a wide range, just as expected, since everyone's metabolism differs. But because we now live in the age of advanced computing, the research team was able to go much deeper. They noted that they already knew each participant's height, age, gender, and the physiologically expected body fat percentage for their specific profile. Using this data, they developed a sophisticated algorithm, complex behind the scenes, but functioning somewhat like an app that subtracted the effect of excess body fat from each individual's metabolic reading. Once that variable was removed, the true underlying metabolism of each person came clearly into focus. The researchers described it as pulling a cover off a statue, suddenly revealing what human metabolism actually looks like across an entire lifetime. What they found was that every human being passes through exactly 4 stages of metabolism, no more, no less. This discovery, as Dr. Thomas William highlights on the Health Channel, began overturning every assumption mentioned earlier. And that's actually very encouraging, because it means metabolism is not your fate. There are real things you can do to improve it. Now let's talk about body fat itself. Starting from the very beginning, body fat actually forms while you are still in the womb. When your parent cells first combined and began forming a human being, among the very first tissues to develop were blood vessels, then nerves, and the third was fat, known as adipose tissue. You had fat before you even had a face to feed it. Fat surrounds blood vessels, connects to nerves, and functions as an endocrine organ, producing hormones that support the development of organs that form later. When a baby is born, every culture around the world recognizes a healthy, chubby appearance of a newborn as a sign of wellness. Fat, from a very start, serves a vital biological purpose, as Dr. Thomas William explains in detail on the Health Channel. There are 3 types of body fat. First, subcutaneous fat, located just beneath the skin, visible as the muffin top around the waistline. Second, visceral fat, found inside the abdominal cavity around the organs, not visible from the outside. Third, and most importantly, brown fat, a type that scientists have only recently confirmed exists in meaningful quantities in adult humans. Brown fat is paper-thin, located close to the bone rather than the skin. It sits around the neck, behind the breastbone, under the arms, along the upper back, and in small amounts in the belly. Brown fat is not soft or jiggly. It is a metabolic fuel cell, a biological space heater that generates heat by burning energy. To power itself, brown fat draws energy directly from your harmful excess fat, both visceral and subcutaneous. This means good fat is actively fighting bad fat. And certain foods can switch the system. The simplest way to activate brown fat, according to Dr. Thomas William on the Health Channel, is through thermogenesis, essentially flipping a switch that ignites your brown fat's energy-burning process. Certain foods send signals that trigger this response. Hot chili peppers are one clear example. They contain a bioactive compound called capsaicin, which binds to a receptor on your tongue called TRPV1. This receptor is present throughout the digestive tract. When capsaicin activates it, a signal is sent to the brain, which releases both endorphins and norepinephrine. Norepinephrine travels down the nerves along your neck directly to your brown fat, igniting thermogenesis. Another example is the pear. Pears contain chlorogenic acid, also found in apples and coffee, which supports fat metabolism. In a clinical study, participants who ate 2 pears before lunch daily for 4 weeks experienced measurable reductions in waist size. The second strategy is intermittent fasting. When you stop eating after dinner, sleep 8 hours, and delay breakfast by just 1 hour, you achieve 12 hours of fat-burning time, 50% of your day, without any extreme dieting or supplements.